The signal wasn't for humans, but they answered anyway. Ethan Blake sat in the captain's chair of the research ship Odyssey, staring at the screen in front of him. The soft hum of the engines filled the room, but his mind was far from the usual calculations and star charts. For weeks, their instruments had been picking up something strange, a signal from a faraway system that seemed too organized to be natural. And now, after days of trying to decode it, the message had become clearer. It was not meant for humans. Leela Grant, the communications officer, leaned over the console beside him. Her eyes were wide, and her hands hovered over the keyboard as if afraid to touch anything that might ruin their progress. "Captain," she said, "I think we can finally understand part of it. The signal, it's definitely intelligent, but it's not addressed to us. Whoever sent this, they were talking to someone else." Ethan nodded slowly. He had expected this. Signals like this were rare in the galaxy, and the ones that humans managed to detect were usually not meant for Earth. Most civilizations were careful. Most civilizations assumed humans were still young and unready. Yet here they were, staring at something not meant for them, and curiosity had the entire crew buzzing. Maya Sullivan, the ship's xenolinguist, entered the room carrying a tablet full of strange symbols. She had dark hair tied back in a simple ponytail, and her expression showed the mix of excitement and fear she felt. "It's complicated," she said quietly. "The language isn't human and the structure is unlike anything I've seen, but there are patterns. It's like a conversation and we are listening in by accident." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "Listening isn't a crime," he said. "Answering might be." Leela looked up at him. "But Captain, if we don't answer, what if this is something important, something we could learn from? We could be missing our chance to know that we are not alone in the galaxy." Ethan sighed and leaned back in his chair. The room was quiet for a moment, broken only by the low hum of the ship. He looked at the crew, at the young faces eager to see the unknown. Part of him wanted to be cautious, to follow the advice of the Galactic Science Council, who had warned Earth and its allies not to interfere with signals from civilizations far more advanced than humans. Part of him, however, wanted to see what lay beyond their small corner of the galaxy. "Do you think it's dangerous?" he asked Maya. Maya shook her head. "I don't know. The signal itself doesn't show aggression. It's polite, almost like a formal message between equals. But it is complex. If they notice we are listening, they might react, and we don't know how." The weight of responsibility pressed on Ethan. Humanity had always been careful. They had sent probes and listened quietly from afar. They had mapped the stars and studied the galaxy from a distance. But answering a signal that was never meant for humans, that was new, that was bold, that was dangerous. Leela's fingers hovered over the console again. "Captain, I think we can respond safely," she said. "We don't have to say much, just a simple acknowledgement, something to let them know we exist without claiming to understand everything." Ethan looked at her, seeing her determination. It reminded him of why he had joined this mission. Humanity had always been curious, sometimes reckless, but often brilliant in ways no other species could predict. He nodded slowly. "Do it," he said finally. "But keep it simple. Make it clear we are listening and nothing more." Leela's fingers danced over the keyboard. The ship's systems converted her simple message into the complex signal that matched the pattern they had received. Then, with a quiet tone, the message left the Odyssey, traveling across light years to reach its intended recipient. For hours, the crew waited. Time stretched slowly aboard the ship. Each crew member occupied themselves with small tasks, but every glance toward the communications console carried the same question. Had they done the right thing? Finally, the screen flickered. A new message had arrived. The symbols were unfamiliar, but the response was unmistakable. It was intelligent. The aliens were aware of them, and they were confused. Maya leaned over the console, her eyes scanning the alien script. "They weren't expecting us," she said. "This isn't hostile. It's more like surprise. They don't understand why we answered." Ethan felt a thrill of excitement and fear. Humanity had stepped into something bigger than they had ever faced before. "Good or bad?" he asked quietly. Maya hesitated. "I think good for now. But we have to be careful. They are not humans. Their way of thinking, we can't predict it." As the crew processed the news, the ship's sensors picked up movement outside their system. Small vessels, fast and sleek, were approaching. Leela's eyes widened. "Captain, we're being scanned." Ethan's hand went to the controls. "By them?" he asked. "I think so," Leela said. "They're not aggressive, not yet, but they are observing." Ethan nodded. Keep calm, let them see we are here, but don't make sudden moves. We are guests in their space, even if they didn't invite us. The vessels circled the Odyssey, scanning, observing, silent. The crew watched in awe. These were not human ships. Their design was alien, with smooth curves and lights that shifted colors in ways no human engineer had ever imagined. Even from a distance, they looked faster, stronger, and more advanced than anything Earth had built. Lucas Harper, the young engineer, could not hide his excitement. "They are beautiful," he said softly. "Look at how they move like they are alive." Ethan smiled faintly. "Alive in a way we don't understand, remember that." Hours passed. The alien vessels eventually withdrew, leaving the Odyssey alone once again. But the crew felt different. They had stepped into the unknown, and the galaxy had noticed them. Humanity had made its presence known, even where it was not expected. That night, the crew gathered in the observation room, looking out at the stars. The vast emptiness of space had never felt smaller and larger at the same time. Leela sat next to Maya, her eyes reflecting the distant light of alien worlds. "Do you think they will come back?" she asked quietly. Maya shook her head. "I don't know, but now they know we exist. That changes everything." Ethan stood behind them, looking out at the same stars. "We are humans," he said softly, "curious, stubborn, maybe reckless. But we are also clever. We have survived when the odds were against us. We will survive this too." The days that followed were tense. The crew continued to monitor the signal, decoding fragments and learning about the Chiron, the civilization that had sent the message. They discovered that the Chiron were highly advanced, with a culture built on logic, strategy, and strict rules of communication. They did not expect interference from less developed species. Humans had broken that expectation, and the galaxy had noticed. Maya worked tirelessly to understand the message. "They speak in layers," she explained to Ethan one morning. "Each symbol carries multiple meanings. It's like a conversation within a conversation. They communicate ideas through structure, not just words." Ethan nodded. "So they are smart, very smart." "Smart is an understatement," Maya said. "And now they are curious about us. That is dangerous. Curiosity can be friendly or it can be a trap." Leela joined them, holding a tablet full of graphs and translations. "Captain, we are learning fast. Every time we decode a fragment, we understand more about their world, their technology, and their thinking. We can maybe respond in a way they will understand." Carefully. Ethan felt a surge of pride. Humanity had always learned fast, adapted, and survived. They were young in the galaxy, yes, but they were unpredictable. That unpredictability might be their greatest strength. Days turned into weeks. The crew of the Odyssey became more confident in their communication with the Chiron. They still did not understand everything, and they were aware that one wrong move could lead to disaster. But they were learning, and as humans, learning meant hope. One evening, as the ship drifted past a distant star, Ethan gathered the crew in the observation room. The stars shone like diamonds against the black void, and the hum of the engines felt like a heartbeat. "We answered a signal that was never meant for us," he said quietly. "We have no idea where this will lead or what dangers await, but we are here. We are listening. And we are human. That matters. That matters more than anyone might expect." The crew sat in silence, thinking about the journey ahead. They knew they had stepped onto a path with no map, in a place where the rules were unknown. But for the first time, they felt something powerful, the possibility that humans could be more than observers in the galaxy. They could be participants. Outside, a distant light flickered. It was small, almost imperceptible, but it carried a message. The Chiron had noticed. And though they did not yet understand humanity, one thing was clear. Humans had answered. And the galaxy would never be the same. The crew of the Odyssey woke to a new day in space, but the tension from the previous weeks had not disappeared. The aliens, who called themselves the Chiron, had not responded with hostility, but their messages showed clear confusion. They were puzzled by humans answering a signal that was never meant for them. Leela Grant was the first to notice the change. She was at the communications console, scanning incoming transmissions, her eyes moving quickly over the strange symbols. "Captain," she said, her voice tight with concern and excitement, "they are sending us something new. It looks like a question. I don't know if we can answer it properly. It's not a human question, it's different." Ethan Blake leaned over the console, his brow furrowed. "Show me," he said. Maya Sullivan stepped closer, holding her tablet. She had been working non-stop, translating fragments of the Chiron language, and the progress was slow but steady. It's like they are testing us, she said. They are trying to understand if we can follow their logic. This is not an attack. It's more like a challenge. But one wrong move could be dangerous. Ethan rubbed his chin. So they are curious about us, he said slowly. Curious enough to test us. He looked at Leela. Can we answer safely? Leela hesitated. I think so. We need to keep it simple, basic answers, nothing complex. We don't want to confuse them further, and we must be careful not to lie or make assumptions. They will notice. Ethan nodded. Do it. Leela typed quickly, her fingers moving with precision. The message left the Odyssey in a stream of alien symbols that the Chiron could understand. The ship waited in silence, the crew watching the screens for any sign of a response. It came faster than expected. The Chiron reply was long and complex, but the translation showed excitement, or at least the alien equivalent of it. They were surprised and clearly intrigued. They had not expected humans to answer, and now that humans had, the Chiron wanted to know more. Maya studied the message carefully. They are asking about our biology, our thinking, our tools, and our communication methods, she said. They want to know if we are capable of understanding more, of participating in their world in some way. Ethan looked around the room. The crew was tense but eager. This was the moment that could change everything. We answer carefully, he said. Keep it true, keep it simple, and remember we are humans, that is enough for now. Over the next several days, the crew sent and received multiple messages. Each time they learned more about the Chiron and themselves. The Chiron spoke in patterns, using images, symbols, and concepts humans had never encountered. They asked about human history, culture, and achievements. They asked about human strategies in problem-solving and survival. Lucas Harper, the engineer, was fascinated. They are like a puzzle, he said one evening, studying the symbols on his tablet. Every question they ask has many layers. You have to think carefully before you respond. If you make a mistake, they notice immediately. Maya nodded. Exactly, and they think fast. They process information differently than we do, but they respect logic, creativity, and adaptability. That is why our simple answers work. We show them we can think in ways they did not expect. Nora Fields, the tactical officer, watched the messages carefully as well. She was cautious by nature and worried about the consequences. Do you think they trust us? She asked. Or are we just a curiosity to them? Ethan considered this. Maybe both, he said. We are unexpected and that makes us interesting, but that also makes us unpredictable, and unpredictability can be dangerous. Despite the tension, the crew began to notice small changes in the Chiron responses. The messages became friendlier, more engaging, and even slightly playful in ways humans could understand. The aliens were beginning to see humans as more than just a primitive species. They were starting to recognize the creativity and intelligence that humans had shown simply by answering a signal that was never meant for them. One day, the Chiron sent a new type of message. It was not a question, but a simulation. The screen on the Odyssey lit up with moving symbols showing a series of tasks. Maya studied it with fascination. They are testing us, she said. This is not just language. This is strategy, planning, and problem-solving. They want to see how we react. Ethan watched as the crew discussed the simulation. How dangerous is it? He asked. Maya shook her head. It's safe. They wouldn't send something that could harm us, but they are measuring our response, how fast we think, how well we adapt, how clever we are. Leela looked at the screen and smiled. Then we do what humans do best. We learn, we adapt, we survive. Over the next days, the crew worked together to complete the simulations. Each challenge was different. One required solving a puzzle that combined logic, mathematics, and creativity. Another asked them to predict the movement of objects in an alien system, something humans had never encountered before. Yet another tested their communication, asking them to convey a concept using only limited symbols and timing. Lucas Harper was the first to solve a puzzle. He looked at the symbols, thought about patterns he had never seen, and created a solution that even the Chiron would not have expected. Look, he said excitedly, it works. They will see we can handle this. Maya and Leela nodded. That's impressive, Maya said. They will be surprised. Humans are clever, even when they are unprepared. Nora Fields led the tactical simulation. She devised a plan that prevented failure in a scenario that was almost impossible to navigate. Her strategy combined quick thinking and intuition, and it worked perfectly. Ethan watched with pride. The humans aboard the Odyssey were showing qualities that the Chiron had not expected, adaptability, creativity, and teamwork. As the days passed, the crew realized something important. They were learning about the Chiron, but the Chiron were learning about them too. Humans were unpredictable. Humans could think in ways the aliens could not. Humans could survive in situations that seemed impossible. The simple act of answering a signal that was never meant for them had started a chain of events that could change the perception of humanity across the galaxy. One evening, as the crew gathered in the observation room, they looked out at the stars in silence. The distant lights of alien systems twinkled, but now they felt closer, somehow reachable. Leela spoke quietly. "We are changing how they see us. We are no longer just listeners. We are participants." Ethan nodded. "That is dangerous, but it is also powerful. We must continue carefully, but I am proud of every one of you. We answered the signal, we took a risk, and we are learning more than anyone expected." Maya smiled faintly. "We are humans," she said. "Curious, stubborn, maybe reckless, but we survive." And the Chiron, they are starting to understand that. The next message from the Chiron surprised them all. It was not a puzzle or a question. It was an invitation of sorts. The aliens did not fully explain what it meant, but it suggested cooperation, observation, and perhaps a chance to participate in something larger than humanity had ever imagined. The crew was cautious, but the excitement was impossible to hide. Ethan gathered the team. "This is new territory," he said. "We don't fully understand what they want. We don't know what risks are ahead. But we are humans, and humans have always taken risks to learn and survive. We answer carefully, we show them our value, and we prepare for whatever comes next." Leela leaned over the console, sending a careful reply. "Simple, honest, and true," she said. "That is all we can do." Maya worked through the symbols, making sure every detail of the message was correct. Lucas and Nora prepared simulations and strategies, ensuring the Odyssey could respond to any challenge. Ethan watched them work and felt a sense of pride he could hardly describe. Humanity had taken a bold step. They were learning from a civilization far older and more advanced, and they were proving themselves in ways no one had expected. Days became weeks, and the crew continued to communicate with the Chiron. The aliens' curiosity grew, and their respect for humans became clearer. They did not fully trust them yet, but humans had demonstrated qualities that were hard to ignore: creativity, resilience, and intelligence. Every puzzle solved, every message answered, every strategy successfully executed added to a growing impression across the stars. Humans were not to be underestimated. One quiet night, as the ship floated past a distant nebula, Ethan reflected on what had happened. Humanity had answered a signal that was never meant for them. They had stepped into the unknown and survived. They had learned, adapted, and impressed a species far older and more advanced. And for the first time, humans were no longer just observers. They were participants in the galaxy. Outside, distant stars flickered, sending light across the void. Somewhere out there, the Chiron were watching, waiting, and beginning to understand the humans who had dared to answer a signal that was never meant for them. And the crew of the Odyssey knew one thing clearly. This was only the beginning. The crew of the Odyssey woke to another day in deep space, but there was a new feeling aboard the ship. The Chiron, the alien civilization they had contacted by answering a signal not meant for humans, were now paying closer attention. Their messages had changed. They were no longer just testing. Now it seemed they were observing carefully, trying to understand how humans could survive challenges that no other species had ever attempted. Ethan Blake walked through the corridors, checking on the crew. They were busy preparing for a new simulation sent by the Chiron. This one was unlike the previous ones. It combined strategy, logic, and quick decision-making. It was clear the aliens wanted to see how humans worked together under pressure. Lucas Harper, the young engineer, was examining a holographic display. His brow was furrowed as he traced the movement of strange objects in three-dimensional space. "This is more complex than before," he said quietly. "They are not just testing us, they are pushing us, seeing how fast we can think and how we adapt. If we make a mistake, they will notice immediately." Maya Sullivan, the xenolinguist, looked over his shoulder. "Yes, but that is exactly why they are interested in us," she said. "We think differently, we solve problems in ways they do not expect. That is why answering a signal they did not intend for us has changed everything. They are curious, and curiosity can become respect." Nora Fields, the tactical officer, studied the simulation with a critical eye. She had learned that humans could improvise when rules seemed impossible. That skill had impressed the Chiron in their previous tests. "We need to work together," she said. "One mistake can ruin everything. But if we combine our strengths, we can show them that humans are clever and adaptable." Ethan entered the room and looked at the display. The simulation was a complex system of moving points and barriers, representing a situation humans had never seen. "This is going to be difficult," he said, "but we are humans, we are resourceful, and we survive, that is what matters." The crew worked through the simulation together. Lucas tracked the moving points and calculated possible outcomes. Maya translated the logic patterns of the Chiron into something humans could understand. Leela Grant monitored communications, sending responses to the Chiron to show their progress. Nora directed the team, adjusting strategies as needed. Hours passed. Mistakes were made, corrected, and learned from. The crew could feel the presence of the Chiron, observing, waiting for humans to adapt. Each time they completed a step successfully, they saw the symbols from the Chiron shift slightly, as if acknowledging their progress. At one point, the simulation introduced a new challenge, a decision where no option was clearly right or wrong. Lucas frowned. "We could choose either path," he said, "but which will satisfy them?" Maya shook her head. "It is not about satisfying them. It is about showing how humans think. We have to make the decision we think is best and show our reasoning. That is how we prove ourselves." Nora nodded. "Agreed. We follow our instincts and we support each other. That is the human way." Ethan observed the team and felt a quiet pride. Humans had survived countless challenges on Earth, and their skills had not diminished in space. They were creative, adaptable, and bold. The Chiron might be far older and more advanced, but humans had something they did not expect: unpredictability. After another long day of careful thinking, strategy, and coordination, the simulation concluded. The holographic display shifted, showing new symbols. Maya read the translation aloud. "They are impressed," she said softly. "They did not expect us to solve it. They acknowledge that humans can adapt and think creatively." The crew exchanged glances, feeling a mix of relief and excitement. They had passed another test, but this one felt different. This was not just about puzzles or logic. This was about earning recognition from a civilization that had never noticed humans before. Over the next few days, the Chiron continued to challenge the Odyssey crew. Each task became more complex, combining knowledge, strategy, and creativity in ways humans had never seen. Lucas developed new tools and methods to understand the alien logic, while Maya and Leela worked on translations and communications. Nora coordinated the team, ensuring that each member contributed their strengths. Ethan watched their progress and thought about what this meant for humanity. They were proving themselves to a species far older and more advanced. Each success made the Chiron more curious, more willing to consider humans as potential equals. One day, the Chiron sent a new type of challenge. It was not a puzzle or a strategy simulation. It was a test of teamwork and problem-solving in real-world conditions. The Odyssey crew was instructed to navigate an asteroid field in a nearby system, using only the symbols and instructions provided by the Chiron. No human map, no known calculations, just intuition, logic, and careful observation. The crew prepared carefully. Lucas studied the asteroid patterns, predicting movements. Maya translated the Chiron instructions into sequences humans could follow. Leela coordinated communications, and Nora directed the team's actions in real time. Ethan oversaw the operation, ready to step in if needed but trusting his crew to succeed. The asteroid field was dangerous. Large rocks moved unpredictably, and small debris could damage the ship if they made a mistake. Yet the crew worked together, adapting quickly to changes and anticipating obstacles. They communicated constantly, using clear and simple instructions, showing the Chiron that humans could handle complex problems without panicking. After several tense hours, the Odyssey emerged from the asteroid field unscathed. The crew exhaled, relieved, and exhilarated. Maya checked the Chiron response. "They are amazed," she said. "They did not think humans could navigate this. They are impressed." "I think this is the first time they have truly acknowledged our abilities," Ethan smiled. "We are showing them what humans can do, one step at a time." The Chiron messages changed again. They were no longer just tests. They were suggestions, ideas, and small invitations to cooperate. They wanted humans to think about problems in ways the Chiron had not considered. They began to share knowledge, sending fragments of their technology, strategies, and philosophy. Lucas was fascinated. They are sharing things we cannot fully understand yet, he said. But we can learn, and that is exactly what we need to do. Maya nodded. Yes, they are testing more than our abilities. They are testing our curiosity, our creativity, and our willingness to learn. And we are showing them that humans have all three. Nora spoke quietly. We must continue carefully. Curiosity is good, but we cannot rush. They respect patience and careful thinking. We must keep proving ourselves in ways that show our value without causing mistrust. Ethan considered this. They did not expect us to answer a signal that was not meant for us. That is what started this. They noticed our boldness, and now we are showing them our skill. That is how humans succeed, by taking risks, learning fast, and working together. The crew continued to communicate with the Chiron, each day becoming more confident in their abilities. They solved problems the aliens never expected humans to solve. They showed creativity, teamwork, and adaptability. The Chiron began to respect humans not only for their intelligence, but for their courage in stepping into situations where they were uninvited. One evening, as the crew gathered in the observation room, the stars outside seemed brighter than usual. The vastness of space stretched endlessly, but it no longer felt completely empty. Somewhere out there, the Chiron were observing, learning, and beginning to see humans as equals rather than a primitive species. Ethan spoke softly. We are humans. Curious, stubborn, sometimes reckless, but we are clever, adaptable, and brave. That is what the Chiron are seeing now. We are earning their respect not by what we know, but by how we act, how we think, and how we survive. Leela looked at him. Do you think they will accept us fully? She asked. Ethan shook his head. Not yet, but we are on the path. We are showing them that humans are not just listeners, not just observers. We are participants, and the more we prove ourselves, the more doors will open. Maya smiled faintly. It is strange, she said. We answered a signal that was never meant for us, and now we are here learning from a civilization far older and more advanced, and they are learning from us. That is not something any human could have imagined before today. The crew felt a sense of pride and purpose. They were small in the galaxy, yes, but their actions were making ripples across space. They had proven that humans could think, adapt, and survive in ways that surprised even the oldest civilizations. The Chiron continued to observe, but their respect grew. Each message from them became more thoughtful, less formal, and more open. They were beginning to trust humans, not completely, but enough to offer opportunities for cooperation. Ethan stood by the window, looking at the stars. This is only the beginning, he said quietly. We answered a signal that was not for us. We have survived their tests. We have shown them who we are, and now we are on the path to becoming something more than anyone expected. Outside, distant lights flickered, as if acknowledging their progress. The Chiron had noticed humans, and they were beginning to see them as something new, something unexpected. The Odyssey crew knew one thing clearly. Humans had started a journey that could change their place in the galaxy forever. And for the first time, the crew of the Odyssey felt the weight and the excitement of being truly seen, not as a young, weak species, but as humans capable of surprising even the oldest and wisest civilizations in the universe. The crew of the Odyssey had grown confident. They had answered a signal that was never meant for humans, survived the Chiron's tests, and even impressed the alien civilization with their creativity and teamwork. But with every achievement came new risks. The galaxy was vast, and not everyone was pleased to learn that humans were suddenly being noticed. Ethan Blake sat in the captain's chair, reviewing reports from the communications console. Leela Grant stood beside him, her brow furrowed. Captain, she said, we are picking up transmissions from other nearby civilizations. They know we are talking to the Chiron, and some of them are uneasy. They don't understand why we would answer a signal not meant for us. Some of them see us as a threat. Ethan leaned back in his chair. A threat, he repeated. We are humans, we answered a message and survived a few tests. That makes us a threat, Leela shook her head. Not to us, but to them, humans are unpredictable. They don't understand us yet, and they see that we can adapt, survive, and learn quickly. That makes some species nervous. They worry we might become too powerful too fast. Maya Sullivan entered the room, holding her tablet. It's true, she said. We have been noticed. Some civilizations are sending warnings. They advise the Chiron to be careful with humans. Others are observing quietly, waiting to see what we do next. We are no longer small and unknown. We are a presence in the galaxy. Ethan ran a hand through his hair. We didn't ask for this attention. We answered a signal, but now it seems the galaxy is watching us closely. How do we respond? Nora Fields stepped forward. We continue to do what we have done before, she said firmly. We act carefully, show our skill, and prove that humans are capable. We do not overstep. We do not lie. We simply show who we are. Ethan nodded slowly. Agreed, but we must be ready for anything. Some civilizations may not trust us, and some may even try to stop us. We have to be prepared for conflict, even if we do not seek it. Over the next few days, the Odyssey crew received more messages from the Chiron. The aliens had become more open, offering humans limited access to their knowledge and technology. They shared information about star systems, navigation methods, and energy sources. It was far more than humans had expected. Lucas Harper studied the new data with excitement. "This is incredible," he said. "We can learn so much. Our understanding of space, energy, and technology can grow faster than ever before. The Chiron trust us, or at least they are willing to share." Maya looked thoughtful. "Yes, but it is also a test. They want to see how we use this knowledge. If we are reckless, they could withdraw it. Or worse, other civilizations may notice and act against us." Ethan considered this. "We must balance learning and caution. Every action we take now has consequences. But we also have an opportunity to show the galaxy what humans can do." As the crew worked with the Chiron knowledge, a new message arrived from a distant star system. The tone was urgent, almost fearful. The sender identified themselves as representatives of a nearby civilization called the Vyark. "Humans must not be allowed to gain this influence," the message read. "Their actions are unpredictable. They could destabilize the region. The Chiron must limit their interaction immediately." Leela read the message aloud. "They are demanding the Chiron stop communicating with us." Maya frowned. "This is serious. The Vyark are known for being aggressive. If they act, we could be caught in the middle of a conflict." Nora spoke quietly. "Then we must be careful. We continue our work with the Chiron, but we cannot provoke the Vyark. We show skill, not aggression." Ethan nodded. "Exactly. We are humans, not conquerors, but we cannot ignore this. We must prepare for the possibility that they may try to interfere." The days that followed were tense. The Odyssey crew continued their work with the Chiron, learning more about alien technology and strategy. But they also monitored the Vyark's movements, aware that they could strike at any moment. The galaxy, it seemed, was not ready to accept humans as equals. Despite the tension, the crew remained focused. They continued to solve the Chiron simulations, navigate complex challenges, and demonstrate their adaptability. Each success strengthened their position and showed other civilizations that humans were more than observers. They were capable, resourceful, and clever. One day, the Chiron sent a new challenge. It was unlike anything humans had encountered. The aliens requested the crew to coordinate a small operation in a distant system to stabilize a collapsing star. The task required precision, quick thinking, and teamwork. Failure could mean disaster, not only for the Odyssey but also for nearby civilizations. Lucas Harper studied the data. "This is high risk," he said, "but it is also a chance to prove ourselves. If we succeed, the Chiron and even other civilizations will see that humans can handle responsibility." Maya nodded. "We must approach this carefully. We have knowledge from the Chiron, but we need strategy, communication, and calm thinking. Any mistake could be dangerous." Nora stepped forward. "We work together. Every crew member contributes their strengths. We anticipate problems, adapt quickly, and support each other. That is how humans succeed." Ethan looked at the team, pride and concern mixed in his expression. "This is a turning point. We are being tested, but not just by the Chiron. The galaxy is watching. Success means respect. Failure could bring conflict. Are we ready?" The crew nodded. "We are ready," Leela said. The operation began. The Odyssey navigated toward the distant system, carefully following instructions from the Chiron. They monitored the collapsing star, calculated gravitational shifts, and adjusted energy flows. Every step required precision, collaboration, and quick thinking. As the crew worked, alerts came in from sensors. Small vessels were approaching from the Vyark system. Their movements were cautious but aggressive. "They are observing us," Leela said. "They are testing how we respond." Ethan made a quick decision. Do not engage unless necessary. Show them we are capable but not aggressive. Our goal is the star, not conflict. The crew continued their work, ignoring the Vyark ships for the moment, focusing on stabilizing the star. The tasks were difficult, requiring careful coordination between Lucas, Maya, Leela, and Nora. Every calculation, every adjustment had to be perfect. Hours passed. The collapsing star began to stabilize. The Odyssey crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. Their success was not just a victory for them, it was proof that humans could handle situations far beyond their experience. Then, the Vyark ships approached closer, scanning aggressively. Their message was clear. They wanted humans to leave immediately or face consequences. Ethan's hand hovered over the controls. We are not leaving. We have a right to be here and we are not a threat, but we will show them that humans can act responsibly. Nora took the lead. We maintain course and finish the operation. We demonstrate our capability without aggression. That is our strength. Lucas worked quickly, adjusting energy flows to complete the stabilization. Maya monitored the Chiron communications for guidance, while Leela coordinated sensor readings. Step by step, they finished the task. The star stabilized completely. The Chiron sent a response immediately. Their symbols shifted, showing approval, respect, and trust. You have succeeded, the translation read. Humans have shown courage, skill, and responsibility. Your actions are acknowledged. The Vyark, observing from a distance, seemed to hesitate. Humans had acted in their territory but had not shown hostility. They had solved a dangerous problem where many others would have failed. Respect, it seemed, could grow even from conflict. Ethan exhaled slowly. We have proven ourselves, he said. Not just to the Chiron but to the galaxy. Humans can act responsibly, adapt quickly, and survive. That is our message. Maya smiled faintly. We are humans, curious, clever, and brave. We answer signals that are not for us, survive challenges no one expects, and continue to learn. That is how we make our place in the galaxy. The crew of the Odyssey knew that their journey was far from over. Other civilizations would watch, some with fear, some with curiosity. But humans had shown that they could act with skill, wisdom, and courage. They were no longer just young observers in the galaxy, they were participants, and every success strengthened their position. As the Odyssey left the system, traveling toward new stars, Ethan looked at his crew. We are humans, he said quietly. Bold, curious, and capable. The galaxy is watching and we are ready. Whatever comes next, we will face it together. Outside, distant stars shone like jewels against the black void of space. Somewhere, the Chiron and the Vyark observed, learning about humans and the unexpected species that dared to answer a signal not meant for them. And the crew of the Odyssey knew one thing clearly: humanity's boldness had changed the galaxy forever. The future was uncertain. Danger could come at any moment, but the humans were ready. They had survived tests, navigated challenges, and earned respect. They had shown that even when a signal was not meant for them, humans could rise to the occasion and prove that they belonged among the stars. The Odyssey moved silently through the vast reaches of space. The crew had faced challenges they never expected, survived alien tests, and even earned a cautious respect from the Chiron. Yet, despite all their success, the galaxy was not fully accepting of humans. Some civilizations still watched with suspicion, while others waited to see if humans would fail. Ethan Blake stood on the observation deck, staring at the stars. He felt a strange mix of pride and concern. We have come far, he said quietly to himself. But we are still young in the galaxy, and the real tests may not even be here yet. Leela Grant joined him, carrying a tablet full of recent communications. Captain, she said, the Chiron have sent a new message. They are inviting us to participate in a joint mission with other species to prevent a dangerous system from collapsing. They want humans involved, and they are asking the other civilizations to trust us. Ethan raised his eyebrows. That is unexpected. They are putting their trust in us and asking others to do the same. Maya Sullivan appeared behind them, her face serious. Yes, they want to see if humans can work not just with them, but with multiple species. This is a chance to show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Nora Field stepped up. It will not be easy. Coordinating between species is always difficult. They think differently, act differently, and sometimes their goals do not align. But we can handle it. We have proven ourselves before. We can do it again. Ethan nodded. Then we do it, but we proceed carefully. This is more than a test now, it is a chance to shape how humans are seen in the galaxy. The crew prepared for the mission. The Odyssey would travel to a system on the edge of known space, where multiple star systems were unstable. Their task was to stabilize the system before it collapsed and caused damage to nearby civilizations. The Chiron provided detailed instructions, while humans added their own strategies and innovations. Lucas Harper studied the technical data. "This is dangerous," he said. "The system is unstable. Small mistakes could destroy entire planets. But if we succeed, humans will be respected in ways we have never imagined." Maya nodded. "We must communicate clearly, think quickly, and adapt constantly. That is how we will succeed." Leela worked on coordinating communications with the other species involved in the mission. "Some are nervous," she said. "They do not trust humans yet, but our previous successes with the Chiron will help. We just need to show that we can work together and act responsibly." Ethan gathered the crew. "This is our chance to prove that humans belong in the galaxy. We do not act for glory. We act because we are capable, clever, and brave. We work together, and we show everyone that humans are a species to be counted on." The Odyssey arrived in the system. It was dangerous and chaotic. Massive gravitational shifts threatened entire planets, and unstable stars pulsed unpredictably. The alien teams worked cautiously, observing humans closely, waiting to see if they would falter. Nora Fields took the lead, coordinating movements between species. She gave clear instructions to humans and allies alike. Lucas adjusted energy flows and worked on stabilizing the planets. Maya monitored communications and ensured that every signal was precise. Leela managed sensors and alerts, keeping the team informed of any sudden changes. Hours passed in tense silence. Every decision mattered. A wrong move could have catastrophic consequences. Yet the humans acted with calm precision. They adapted to each problem, solved each unexpected challenge, and supported each other through the dangers. At one point, a massive asteroid broke from a distant belt and hurtled toward a planet. The alien teams hesitated. Their calculations were slow, and their hesitation could have caused disaster. Lucas quickly analyzed the trajectory and found a solution. "We can redirect it," he said, "but we must act fast." Ethan nodded. "Do it. Trust your instincts." The humans executed the plan flawlessly. The asteroid was redirected, missing the planet entirely. The alien teams watched in surprise. Humans had acted quickly, confidently, and correctly when others had hesitated. The Chiron's symbols shifted on the console, showing approval, respect, and even admiration. Maya smiled. "They are impressed," she said quietly. "They did not expect humans to act this well under pressure." Nora added, "We are humans, we think, adapt, and survive. That is why we succeed." The mission continued. Humans coordinated with alien teams, solved problems that others could not, and showed creativity in situations that seemed impossible. Every success strengthened their position. Every calculated risk showed that humans could be trusted. By the end of the mission, the system was stable. Planets were secure, stars were steady, and civilizations that could have been destroyed were safe. The Chiron sent a message directly to the Odyssey. "Humans," the translation read, "you have proven your worth. You act with skill, courage, and wisdom. The galaxy sees you now, not as young and reckless, but as capable and reliable. You have earned your place." Ethan looked at his crew. Pride and relief filled him. "We did it," he said softly. "We showed them who humans are." Leela smiled. "And not just the Chiron. Other civilizations are watching too. Our actions speak louder than words." Maya nodded. "Yes, humans are no longer a species to be ignored. We have shown intelligence, courage, and adaptability. That is how we earn respect in the galaxy." Even the Vyark, who had once demanded the Chiron stop communicating with humans, sent cautious messages. They observed the mission from a distance, their previous hostility replaced with curiosity. Humans had acted responsibly, showing that they could handle situations others feared they might ruin. Nora Fields spoke quietly. "We have changed how the galaxy sees us, not through aggression but through skill and courage. That is the strength of humans." Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Yes, humans do not need to conquer or threaten to be respected. We simply show what we are capable of, and the universe takes notice." The crew of the Odyssey celebrated quietly, knowing that they had achieved something extraordinary. They had answered a signal not meant for them, survived alien tests, faced galaxy-wide tension, and now had earned recognition and trust. Humans were no longer unknown. They were participants, allies, and problem solvers in a universe full of older and more advanced civilizations. As the Odyssey moved away from the stabilized system, Ethan looked at the stars. "We are humans," he said softly. "Curious, bold, and clever. We answer signals that are not for us, survive tests no one expects us to pass, and work together when it matters most. That is how humans rise." Leela stood beside him. "And that is how the galaxy begins to respect us," she said. Maya added, "We have shown that humans can think, adapt, and act wisely. That is something no species can ignore." Lucas Harper smiled. "We are humans. We do not always follow rules, we take risks, but we survive, and the galaxy sees that now." Nora Fields looked out at the endless stars. "We have earned our place, not by force, but by courage, intelligence, and teamwork. That is how humans thrive." The Odyssey traveled on, carrying humans who had changed their place in the galaxy forever. They had started with a simple act, answering a signal not meant for them. That bold step had led to recognition, respect, and the beginning of humanity's journey as a true galactic species. The Chiron continued to communicate, now sharing more knowledge, strategies, and invitations to cooperate on projects across the stars. Other civilizations began to reach out as well, curious to see what humans could do. Humans had become a species that could not be ignored. Ethan Blake stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars stretching into infinity. "The galaxy is vast," he said quietly, "and humans are still young. But we have shown that we can survive, adapt, and excel. We answer the unknown, face challenges others fear, and act with courage and wisdom. That is what makes us human." Leela nodded. "And that is how humans will continue to grow," she said. Maya smiled. "We are no longer observers, we are participants. Humans belong here among the stars, and we will continue to prove it." The Odyssey moved forward, carrying the crew and humanity's promise into the unknown. They had answered a signal that was never meant for them. They had survived tests and dangers. They had earned respect and trust. And they had begun a journey that would change the galaxy forever. The stars stretched endlessly, and among them, humans had found their place. Bold, clever, and resilient, they were no longer to be underestimated. The universe had seen what humans could do, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The future was uncertain, full of challenges and dangers, but the crew of the Odyssey knew one thing for certain. Humanity would face it together, as humans always did, with curiosity, courage, and an unyielding determination to survive and thrive.